The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Ladies and gentlemen, a special good evening to you, those of you listening on radio, those of you viewing on television, and those of you who are joining us via live stream. A special welcome. And let me start by apologizing for the fact that last week, Monday, we were not on air. We did not have our program last week, Monday. And as I've explained to some of our fans and listeners and viewers, it was because of a little family emergency that I had that I was not able to make it. But I'm happy to be back here tonight, and I'm hoping that you are happy to be joining us once again, where we will bring you the usual information that is of concern and interest to you. We will pursue this program like all others, starting with our SLP segment. Then we will go into our second segment, where we'll have a little discussion before I introduce a special guest that I have tonight. And tonight we will be bringing you one of the new United Workers' Party endorsed candidates, and he will be having some interaction with me here. And of course, I will give you an opportunity as well so that you can call in to tell it like it is, and for you to interact with my guest. So, thanks again for joining us, and welcome. It feels good to be back. And let me go straight into our SLP segment for Like It Is for tonight, the 23rd of June, 2025.
You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie? Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Why, sir?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the SLP, Secrets, Lies, and Propaganda, we will be examining one of the promises made by the St. Lucia Labour Party, and of course, as always and as usual, how we are discovering that it's all a bluff and they're all over the place, and how they're just pulling the legs of St. Lucians. But let me begin by reminding you of this quote from Albert Einstein that is very apt and very applicable to today's present government, the St. Lucia Labour Party government. And the quote goes as this: "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters." A quote by Albert Einstein, a quote that I always like to insert in our SLP segment, our segment of Secret, Lies, and Propaganda, where we expose the secrets, the lies, and the propaganda of the St. Lucia Labour Party government. Now, you would recall, with all what is in the air lately, the bananas, lands, and all of those things, and of course, knowing that election is around the corner, we are hearing all kinds of outlandish promises, all kinds of bluffs all kind of wool being pulled over the eyes of St. Lucians. We know that a promise was made by the Prime Minister to give Crown lands free of charge to St. Lucians once they had been occupying that land for at least 30 years. I want you to listen for yourself a number of clips. And the reason why I'm going to play you at least 3 clips on the issue, it is to show you the kind of government you have in office today, the kind of men and women, and we don't even know who is really in charge, who is in control, or who to believe. Now, first of all, we had what is the first clip that I have here? First of all, let me let you listen to the first clip, and then I will comment on it. Let's go ahead with the first clip, clip number 1 for our viewers and listeners.
They can't understand that. They can't understand how this year we will give everybody who is on crown lands and who has been there for more than 30 years, we will give them the land free. Bouaye!
Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from the man who is supposed to be the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Philippe J. Pierre, and we heard him saying here that he is making the offer at a town hall meeting that all St. Lucians who are occupying crown lands for at least 30 years or more than 30 years will get the land for free. And for emphasis, he said pour rien, meaning for free. Now, that, of course, must excite St. Lucians, especially squatters who have been in occupation of government land or crown land for a long time. Many people, have lived generations on crown property, but unfortunately, it is not theirs. And it sounds like a good gesture, a good offer for government to empower those people by making it possible for them to have title to those lands that they have occupied for 7 years, over 3 decades in most cases. And so it rings well, it sounds like a good offer. Of course, talking about ringing, it tells you that the bell is about to ring soon when you hear politicians being so generous and making all those outlandish offers. But I'm saying if the government were to keep its word, that would be a commendable gesture on their part, and that would be a worthwhile move to ensure that especially poorer people, people who do not have the wherewithal to buy property and who have been in occupation of government property, that they can finally have title to it. The difference that would make to them and to their future generations to come. However, as always, there is confusion among the government officials, because if one says one thing today, he may say another thing tomorrow, or one may say one thing today, another one will say something totally different tomorrow. A clear indication of the fact that the government has no plan and the government is in disarray. Let us listen to clip number 2 on the same matter.
Just to clarify, Mr. Minister, you addressed it earlier, but the lands occupied at Banan, is it crown lands or is it?
Slasper.
It's not crown lands.
No, it's not crown
The
lands.
reason why I asked, the opposition is claiming that the Prime Minister announced that individuals occupying crown lands, 30 years minimum or thereabouts.
Yeah, no.
Do those people at Banan qualify?
Well, I'm trying to remember, it's not crown lands, and they would not qualify. But in any case, government did not say all crown lands in St. Lucia. We've identified areas. So we've identified Opicor, we've identified, certain places where that first phase will happen. And I'm hoping it can also extend to some private lands, because there are people living on some private lands in Banan, on the hill, the top of Montoute, into good lands for 50 years. And they're not going to go anywhere. So we could as well resolve these matters. But you may be on crown land somewhere that's a strategic piece of land, and they may not give it to you. Yeah.
So here, ladies and gentlemen, we are hearing Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who is supposed to be the Deputy Prime Minister, in effect saying something different to what the Prime Minister has said. The Prime Minister was very definitive when he said that everyone who is occupying government land, crown lands, for over 30 years will get it free. They will get it pour rien. Now we are hearing Dr. Ernest Hilaire saying something different. In effect, he's saying that it is not all individuals who are occupying government land or crown property who will be offered, made that offer. It does not apply to everyone, that there are specific areas that they have targeted, so not everyone will enjoy or benefit from that offer. Not in compliance or in consistency with what was said by the Prime Minister. So already we are getting the wool being pulled over our eyes, and we've been told one thing by one person today, and something totally different or slightly different from another individual tomorrow, as to who we should listen to, who we should go by, who really has the power to actually make a definitive statement that we can believe. Let us find out. There is another statement that goes in total contradiction to what the Prime Minister has said, and is in fact very different to what Dr. Ernest Hille has said. Let's listen to clip number 3.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to at least inform the general public that pursuant to a statement made by the Honorable Prime Minister, I want to disabuse the minds of some persons who seemingly have digested misinformation, stating that as long as you are on the land for 30 years, you are entitled to that property. That only goes, Mr. Speaker, for private lands.
This year, we will give everybody who is on Crown lands and who has been there for more than 30 years, we will give them the land free.
That only goes, Mr. Speaker, for private lands, and that does not apply to Crown lands.
Everybody who is on Crown lands and who has been there for more than 30 years, we will give them the land free.
It goes, Mr. Speaker, for private lands, and that does not apply to Crown lands.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that begs the question. Who is the Prime Minister? Now, I had to have the technicians cut that short before the two of them began fighting on the screen there. Because one is saying one thing, the other is saying emphatically something totally opposite. And so, plus Hille is in between with another story. Who is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia? And by whose version should we go? Who should we believe, first of all? Because it clearly tells you this is not a policy of the government, okay? Philip J. Pierre in a town hall meeting just arbitrarily made that comment. Obviously, it was not discussed at the government cabinet level. And so he felt it was expedient as a political gimmick to make that offer that every St. Lucian who is occupying Crown property for over 30 years would get it for free. Point. And then Richard goes to the House and says, that does not apply to Crown lands, only private property. So, Philip Pierre, that is for you. Are you in charge? Are you the Prime Minister? St. Lucians, you are beginning to see. And you know, as Richard Frederick's protege, the one who said that Richard Frederick is his mentor, Kenson Kazimi, as he once said at an audience with school children present, you know, he said something to the effect that would be applying in this case here, because we can use his quote to say that when it comes to the St. Lucia Labour Party, Richard say met, and we'll have to bleep the next word out, Labour. Okay, you know what word he used? We cannot use that word on television. We will not use that word on Like It Is. But Richard say met, whatever it is he said, St. Lucia Labour Party. You know, because at the end of the day, that's what happens when you have a weak leader. That's especially when that weak leader is compromised. That is what you get. That is what passes for government in St. Lucia. You know, now, talking about Crown lands. Now, it tells you clearly that you don't have a serious government in place and you can't go by what they say, because they're all over the place saying all kinds of things. A clear indication that they are lying. And once you see a story is not consistent, there are lies being told to you. But talking about lies and talking about Crown lands, I remember as parliamentary representative of Grosile in 2021, we began a program with the Department of Physical Planning. Since we know that in Labon, there's quite a lot of crown lands, and those lands are occupied by quite a number of the residents of Labon. So we embarked on a program to provide land ownership to the people of Labon, many of whom who have been living on that land for many years. But it didn't really matter how many years they were living. The fact that they were in occupation, many of them had built even concrete structures on the property. We thought it would be a good thing as a form of empowerment to the people, of a form of enriching them and making their lives better, providing them with the opportunity for their future generations to grow upon in terms of using that property for loans, mortgages, to provide study opportunity for their children and so on. We thought it would be a good thing. And so we embarked on a program to have the people of Labon own the crown lands that they were occupying. And so we engaged them. We had a number of meetings. We brought the Commissioner of Crown Lands, workers from physical planning, and so on. And an agreement was arrived at where we told the people that we would be selling the land to them for $2 a square foot. Now that in itself, you know, any land anywhere in Grosile for $2 a square foot is concessionary. We promised them that they would be getting the land for $2 a square foot. But do not forget that in 2021, we had COVID. The economy of St. Lucia had taken a hit. Government revenue was at a low. And so government was not in a position in terms of cash flow to do the surveying and all of the required proprietary work that had to be done for the people to own the land. So I recall that we told the people of Labon that those of you who can afford to survey your plot, go ahead and pay for the survey, but that amount that you expended on the survey would be deducted from the overall cost of the land. So already you get that $2 per square foot, and in effect, you will not be paying to survey it. Because if you paid for the survey, that would be deducted from the price of the land. I remember while all of this was going on, but before I get to that, before I read to you this letter that I have in my possession here, I remember that not too long after the process began, came the announcement for general elections, campaigns started, and so on. And Kenson Kazimi and Philip J. Pierre went to Labon. Philip J. Pierre as leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, and Kenson Kazimi as the St. Lucia Labour Party's candidate for Grosile, in an effort to gain the support of the people of Labon. Of course, they couldn't come and say that that was not a good program or criticize the program in any way, or that they would not do it if they got into office. They said they would do better than that. And the promise that was made to the people of Labon by Kenson Kazimi and Philip J. Pierre was that they would get the land for $1. Okay? So they would be doing better than the offer that the United Workers' Party would be making. We would be making an offer that, okay, the survey in effect would be free, and if you paid for it yourself, it would be deducted from the land, and the land would be $2. They said they would do better than that. So apart from the survey being free, they would get the land for $1. But since then, nothing was done for almost 4 years. But as I tell you, it's the season. Election is around the corner. Everyone suddenly remembers what they could have done 4 years ago that was not done, that they're prepared to do for you now. And so Kenson Kazimi and the St. Lucia Labour Party are running helter-skelter now to win votes. And so on the 21st of May 2025, a letter was sent to a resident of Labon. So these letters are going out to the residents of Labon on that project that was on hold for 4 years. All right, and it is from the Department of Physical Development and Urban Renewal, and it refers to the sale of land located at Labon, quarter of Dauphin, that is in Grosile. And this letter I have in my hand here read, Dear so-and-so, the Crown Land section of the Ministry of Infrastructure Ports, Transport, Physical Development, and Urban Renewal wishes to inform you that the Cabinet, by conclusion number 268 of 2021, dated April 12, 2021, now that is important, I want to stop here to bring to your attention that this date here clearly indicates that that Cabinet conclusion, that Cabinet memo was passed by the United Workers' Party government before the last general election. So that was put in train by the United Workers' Party. Had the United Workers' Party won the election, I can guarantee you that by the end of 2022, everyone in Labon would have had the title to their land already. However, nothing was done until now. So they're making reference to that Cabinet memo of April 12, 2021, which approved the rationalization of block and parcel 1652B22 located at Labon, quarter of Dauphin, for sale to the present occupiers, including you, that is the person they wrote the letter to, at a rate of 2 Eastern Caribbean dollars per square foot. Okay, so they didn't change the price, and they didn't keep the promise that they made that they would have been selling that land to the people of Labon for $1. As per attached the survey plan, they talked about the survey plan, you currently occupy, they give the block and parcel number and the measurement and how much it would add up to, okay, for the total payment, and they said how much it is amounting to, and I'm not giving those figures because you'll be able to trace it back to know who it is I'm referring to. But I want to continue reading this letter and to bring something to your attention. The letter says, note that due to the concessionary rate at which the parcel has been sold, no deduction will be made in regard to the survey fees, and in addition, note that the full one-time payment has to be made. Kindly be informed that in order to make payment, checks should be addressed to the Accountant General, and a pay-in slip must be collected from the Crown Lands Office, first floor, Green Building, Sans Souci Castries, and the payment is then made at the cashier's booth at the Survey and Mapping section, first floor, Graham Lucy Building. Letter signed, yours sincerely, David Daisy, Commissioner of Crown Lands, and CC to the Permanent Secretary. Now I want to go back to this part here. Note that due to the concessionary rate at which the parcel has been sold, no deduction will be made in regard to the survey fees. Now I'm asking you, why do you think they're making that point? It's because they are aware that we had promised the people that they would not have to bear the survey fees, and that if they in fact paid for the survey to speed up the process, they would be refunded by the money being deducted from the price of the land. Okay, so they are telling them now, you're not going to have the survey fee, the survey done for free. It's not going to be deducted. And in addition, note that the full one-time payment has to be made. Now, recognizing the situation of most of those people, we were going out of our way to facilitate them and to make it as feasible as possible for them to own that property. And so one of the things we said, those of you who could not pay cash, we would provide you with a payment plan. But here they are saying the full one-time payment, so you have to pay all of it one time, must be made at once. The full payment must be made at once. So compare what you have now with what you had, the offer you had from the United Workers' Party. When I was the parliamentary representative of Grosile, we promised the people, one, they would get the land that they would be occupying for $2 a square foot. And let me further add, we gave them the assurance that that $2 a square foot would not be going to the government treasury, but instead would be set aside to be reinvested in the infrastructure that would be required, whether it be roads, water, electricity. We would use that money to put back into the development of that same property to provide the necessary infrastructure. So in effect, those people would be getting the land practically free. They would not have to pay for the survey. The little that they paid, the concessionary rate, as described in this letter, the concessionary rate that they have to pay would go back for their benefit to provide infrastructure, and if they could not pay the full amount, we were prepared to enter into a payment plan with them. Compare that to what you get now. And I'm not going to say I warned you and I told you so. That is the St. Lucia Labour Party for you. Now I'm saying this before we end this segment. That constitutes a bluff. That in itself is a lie. You lied to the people, Kenson Kazemi, you lied to the people, Philip J. Pierre, by telling them you would give them the land for $1 a square foot if they voted for you, and making them believe that they would get a better deal than what was being offered to them for the United Workers' Party, from the United Workers' Party. They voted for you. You owe it to them to honor your word. And I'm saying to the people of Labon, insist on the government delivering on the promise that they made you, and do not accept what they are trying to push on you right now. The deal was from them $1 a square foot. The money would be used for infrastructure. You would not have to pay for the survey, and if you did, it would be deducted from the value of the land. And that if you could not pay at once, you would be allowed to enter into a payment plan. That is what, and even if you can't pay, you should stand with those who cannot as a community and demand that from the government. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the kind of individuals, that's the kind of characters we have in government who will lie conveniently, expediently, when it suits them. But when the time comes to honor their word, they do not care about you or your interests. They just do what suits them best. That is unacceptable. That we will not accept. So ladies and gentlemen, that for you tonight was our segment on SLP, Secret, Lies, and Propaganda, the modus operandi of the government of St. Lucia. I thank you.
You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie? Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Why, sir?
The views of the host of this program is independent of Hot 7 TV, Kiss FM, and Hot FM Communications Limited.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our four corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Looking for the best way to advertise? Stop searching. Hot 7 TV gives you more reach, more impact, and more value. Get your business in front of the right audience and watch your sales soar. Don't miss out. Call 452-6040 today and take advantage of our exclusive advertising packages. Hot 7 TV, smart advertising for smart businesses.
Ball. Deandra Dutton.
Chops on. The feet have gone nowhere, but the ball has found the woodwork.
Absolutely huge from the Briton. It's been coming for a long time. If she's broke that magical 7-meter line.
Goes for it. It's beaten the man, square leg. That will do it. 8 scores of 200 or more for Brian Lara.
Usain Bolt storming through, he takes it again.
the Heat. Jared Jones.
Unforgettable moments in sports. Sports classics during the Hot 7 Nightly News. Did you know that while you're busy with your day, important news is breaking all around you? From politics to weather updates, community stories, and breaking news. Hot 7 TV keeps you informed with news every hour on the hour. Don't wait to hear it secondhand. Stay ahead. Stay informed with Hot 7 TV St. Lucia. News notes on the hour. Stay updated wherever you are. Catch Hot 7 TV St. Lucia's news every hour on the air, on our mobile app, and on our website. Did you know that while you're busy with your day, important news is breaking all around you? From politics to weather updates, community stories, and breaking news. Hot 7 TV keeps you informed with news every hour on the hour. Don't wait to hear it secondhand. Stay ahead. Stay informed with Hot 7 TV St. Lucia. News notes on the hour. Stay updated wherever you are. Catch Hot 7 TV St. Lucia's news every hour on the air, on our mobile app, and on our website.
Ball. DeAndre Dutton.
Chops on. The feet have gone nowhere, but the ball has found the woodwork.
Absolutely huge from the Briton. It's been coming for a long time. If she's broke that magical 7-meter line.
Goes for it. It's beaten the man. Square leg. That will do it. 8 scores of 200 or more for Brian Lara. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it again. Blake gets the silver. Play of the day for the Heat. Jared Jones.
Unforgettable moments in sports. Sports classics during the Hot 7. Did you know that while you're busy with your day, important news is breaking all around you? From politics to weather updates, community stories, and breaking news. Hot 7 TV keeps you informed with news every hour on the hour. Don't wait to hear it secondhand. Stay ahead. Stay informed with Hot 7 TV St. Lucia. News notes on the hour. Stay updated wherever you are. Catch Hot 7 TV St. Lucia's news every hour on the air, on our mobile app, and on our website.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for staying tuned to Like It Is. Those of you listening on television, Hot 7 TV, those of you listening on Kiss FM, those of you on live stream on Facebook, following us and listening and hearing us, we are happy that you have stayed with us. And in this segment, as you can see, I have a special guest whom I'll be introducing in a moment. But just before I go to my guest, there's a matter that disturbs me quite a lot that I just want to touch on. It was discussed at the Flavo Live, the Flavo Sunday Live last night. But I think it's sufficiently serious that I touch on it once again this evening before I go to my guest. So please bear with me. Because this situation, I will read to you a letter from the St. Lucia Athletics Association. That is the governing body for track and field here in St. Lucia. And there's this letter that they wrote to their members and to all affiliates and clubs. And it is from the president of the St. Lucia Athletics Association, and I will read excerpts from the letter to you. The subject is clarification on the NACAC Age Group Championships participation. Now the NACAC, for those of you who do not know, is the North American, Central American, and Caribbean region. Those are the games that take place among people from North America, people from Central America, and the Caribbean. So it is a regional game, so to speak, but is a wider region, not just the Caribbean. It includes North America and Central America. And the letter reads, "It has come to the attention of the St. Lucia Athletics Association that a social media article recently circulated by a local media house contains information regarding a purported list of athletes selected to represent St. Lucia at the upcoming NACAC Games, they call it the NACAC Age Group Championship, scheduled for July 2025. The executive of the St. Lucia Athletics Association wishes to formally clarify that no official team list has been released, nor has any public statement been issued by the Athletics Association concerning St. Lucia's participation in this event. Following careful deliberation at a recent executive meeting, the difficult decision has been taken to not proceed with participation in the 2025 NACAC Age Group Championships, and this decision was not made lightly and is due to significant financial constraints and logistical hurdles which presented challenges beyond our current capacity to manage effectively at this time. These include substantial travel and accommodation costs and limitation in securing the required funding and sponsorship within the available time frame. We acknowledge the outstanding performances of several athletes during the Bank of St. Lucia National Age Group Championship held on the 7th and 8th of June 2025 at the Soufre Mini Stadium. But we are committed to providing our young athletes with meaningful opportunities for growth and exposure, and remain actively engaged in planning for upcoming regional and international events where participation is logistically and financially feasible. We take this opportunity to thank all clubs, coaches, and athletes for their continued commitment and assure you that the St. Lucia Athletics Association remains focused on exploring sustainable opportunities for regional and international exposure. We urge all affiliates to rely solely on official St. Lucia Athletics Association communication channels for accurate information regarding team selection and representation, and all other matters related to the affairs of the SLAA. Thank you for your understanding and ongoing support. Yours in sports, Dora Henry, President. I want to go back to this line here. This decision was not made lightly, and it is due to significant financial constraints and logistical hurdles which presented challenges beyond our current capacity to manage effectively at this time. And those challenges include substantial travel and accommodation costs, limitation in securing the required funding and sponsorship within available time frame. Now, why am I bringing this up? Why am I bringing this to your attention? That has everything to do with the poor governance that is taking place in this country today. That has everything to do with the lack of planning, foresight, and vision of the government of St. Lucia. And that has everything to do with the squandering of resources, and not to mention the corruption that is taking place when it comes to the handling of government resources. Now, let's be more specific. There is an organization called the National Lotteries Authority, and that organization is there to raise funds to generate resources for the development of youth and sports. And so it is supposed to provide support to the youth and sports department, to youth and sporting organizations in St. Lucia, as far as support through sponsorship for programs, for participation in international events, for scholarships and things of that nature. When I was Minister of Youth and Sports, The National Lottery brought in a mere $25,000 monthly. And from that, we had to deal with administrative costs, and we had to provide assistance, financial support to clubs and organizations, youth organizations. That, I need not tell you, was woefully inadequate and did not go very far. But under the United Workers' Party government, we decided that we had to find additional revenue for the National Lotteries Association and by extension for the young people in St. Lucia for youth and sports development. And so we brought in a company called Cage. I'm sure that name rings a bell to my guests. We brought in a company called Cage. And with the advent of Cage, I remember while I was still sports minister, our intake of resources, of financial revenue, shot up from $25,000 to about $500,000 a month. Since then, we had the St. Lucia Labour Party was in office. Sean Edward, and I'm sure that name is familiar to my guests as well, was the Minister of Sports. And of course, during that time, again, under the corrupt practices of the St. Lucia Labour Party, we saw the advent of ministers' ministers signing checks and so on, contrary to the National Lotteries Act and the regulations governing the conduct of the National Lottery. But they did what they wanted with the money. You had people building, changing room in Marigo, a 2x4 changing room for about $600,000 and so on. But fast forward to UWP coming back into office and Edmond Estefan being the Minister of Sports. Money was being used for support of athletes, for participation of national teams in regional and international events, and other programs for youth and so on, including providing scholarships and other support for young people. We did undertake massive infrastructural development for sports. And I'm not just saying things, I cannot list them all, but I can tell you some of them. The same mini stadium at Soufrière where the Bank of St. Lucia games took place, there's a 400-meter synthetic track now. There's a football pitch there right now. In Dennery, we have lights, we have playing facilities. In Miku North and South, you have football pitches, artificial turf and all of that. In Grosile, you have the establishment of a sports academy and so on. So a lot of investment was made in sporting infrastructure, but the government under Alan Chasney made a point about not using the money generated from the National Lottery to fund programs for youth and sports development for the purpose of sports infrastructure. And so those monies went for that purpose. Here comes another Labour Party administration under Philip J. with Kenson Kazemi as the sports minister, and what do? They, as ill-advised and lacking in vision as they are, and of course, conveniently because it served their ulterior motives, I can say that, it served their ulterior motives, they went ahead and had the National Lotteries Authority to take a loan of $80 million, okay? That is more than twice the amount it took to build the Darren Sammy Stadium. It said that it was for preparation for World Cup and to upgrade some sporting facilities. Up to this day, no detailed account has been given as to how that $80 million was spent. So much so that when the Minister of Sports was asked how contracts were awarded and to whom contracts were awarded, I remember he famously said that he knows the company, but he cannot remember the name of the contractor. Only to find out, ladies and gentlemen, the contractor is his cousin. Okay, so you could see why he's hiding the fact and why he could not remember the name. It is his cousin. And today we are seeing, while ministers of government are enriching themselves and so on, while St. Lucians are being impoverished, our programs are disappearing, and on the sporting landscape of St. Lucia, our participation is being impoverished. So, The National Lotteries Authority, that should be making a monthly contribution to the Department of Sports, clubs, and youth organizations in this country, while they were taking in at the moment over $800 or just about $800,000 a month, all of that now goes to the payment of the loan of $80 million that the government caused them to take for what they refer to as the development of sporting infrastructure. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's no money left for school sports. There's no money left for youth development. There's no money left to provide support for national teams, such as the one that should have been going to take part in the NACAC Age Group Championship. That is what your government has done to the young people of St. Lucia. And I do not know how you say that in English, but what the Patois people say, it is so. That is a kwevche. That is heartbreaking. That is heart-rendering to see that at a time, okay, less than a year after a local daughter of St. Lucia set a landmark historical feat of winning 2 Olympic medals in Paris, that providing an impetus especially to track and field, that providing inspiration to young St. Lucians who are now probably feeling that they too can aspire to that height. They too can achieve that international feat that Julian Alfred achieved. It is a slap in the face to Julian Alfred and a kick in the butt to all young aspiring St. Lucian athletes that the government of St. Lucia should put them in that situation by squandering the resources of this country. And we will have to be told, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development will have to account as to how that $80 million has been spent, what is being done, what has been done with it, and give us, not just tell us there was a wall built around this field and a changing room in Grosile and so on. Costings have to accompany that account so that we can know that our money was in fact spent the way you said it was spent, even though we know that it was a bad decision. We want to know that it was in fact spent and that it was spent on public interest. Because there are reasons for us to have questions and suspicions. And so I say, that tells you the extent to which the government has any plan, the extent to which the government cares about our young people in this country, and the extent to which we need to make a change to make things better in this country. Talking about change, the United Workers' Party is preparing for the upcoming general election. And I have here seated beside me a gentleman who I invited to Like It Is. For us here at Like It Is to have a frank discussion with him, where, as I've told him, the rules here is that he has to tell it like it is. And of course, later in the program, I'll give you an opportunity to call in to share your views, your comments, and if you have any questions for my guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I have here in studio the endorsed candidate for the United Workers' Party who will be contesting the upcoming general election in the constituency of Dennery North. I have here Mr. Bradley Marcelle Fulgence, and so I want to welcome you to Like It Is. Welcome. And before I begin to engage you, I did some research on you, I got some background information on you which I want to share with my viewers and listeners, somewhat sort of a bio on Mr. Bradley Marcelle Fulgence, because I needed to know more about him myself, and I want you to have an idea of who we are talking to tonight. So before I launch into the questions that I'm going to ask him, let us just get an idea of who it is that we are dealing with and who it is that is offering himself to the people of Dennery North. Mr. Bradley Marcelle Fulgence is a name that is entrenched in the hills and valleys of Dennery North, not because he sought attention, but because he's been consistently showing up from the farms in Olean to boardrooms across the Caribbean. Bradley's journey is one of humility, resilience, and a deep love for people. Born and raised in the closely knit cultural community of Olean, Bradley was shaped by the strength of a single mother who instilled in him the values of hard work, faith, and respect. The life he lives currently was not handed to him on a silver platter. Instead, he understood sacrifice from an early age. He helped fetch water, toiled in the garden, and walked the same dusty roads that he now drives. He comes forward not as a stranger, but as a son of the soil who never lost touch. As a boy, he was known for his energy on the football field, where he played for the Valley under-16 team. Those moments were not just about sports, they were about unity, discipline, and learning to fight for every inch. These lessons he carries with him to this day. His journey saw him wearing many hats, such as farmer, friend, and professional. While many know Bradley for his work with livestock and agriculture, few realize the scope of his business acumen. He carved out a successful 2-decade career in the gaming industry, and I mentioned the company Cage a while ago. Okay, he carved out a career in the gaming industry, rising through the ranks to become a respected regional executive. From St. Lucia across to other Caribbean territories, Bradley helped build his former employer's brand, engaging with government officials and entrepreneurs, all while ensuring small businesses and local communities remained. Well, while he traveled and succeeded professionally, Bradley's heart always remained with his community. He is not a man who needs cameras to do good. Over the years, he has quietly helped dozens of families in need by contributing to school supplies, assisting with housing, supporting farmers with fertilizer, and donating quantities of meat to families during the Christmas season to ensure their tables had something to share. What sets Bradley apart is his rare ability to connect. Whether it is an elderly woman in the market, a youth with a dream and no direction, or a fellow farmer battling rising costs, he listens, he relates, and he finds a way to help. He speaks the language of the people because he is one of them. Okay, he understands youth in sports, both the challenges of the single mother raising her children and the small business owner trying to stay afloat. His lived experience is his greatest asset, and he wears it with quiet pride. Today, Bradley stands at a new crossroad, ready and prepared to represent Dennery North, not just in name, but in action. He doesn't come with empty promises. He comes with lived experience, a proven work ethic, and a vision rooted in economic development, youth opportunity, and restoring dignity to the people of his constituency. Whether he's planting yams in the back hills of Olean, sitting across from a prime minister in another Caribbean island, or kicking balls with young boys in the park, he has the same grounded, humble, and committed demeanor, uplifting his people. He is not looking to be just another politician. He is stepping forward to be a servant leader, one who leads from the front, listens from the heart, and works for everyone. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Bradley Fulgence, a man whose story was built, not bought. Welcome again, Bradley, to Like It Is. And tonight, you are sharing the screen and the airwaves with my viewers and listeners, and I'm sure they would like to know a lot more about you. Welcome to Like It Is.
Good evening, Mr. Montoute, and good evening to my Dennery North people and all viewers watching here and abroad. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Mr. Montoute.
Yes, and so, Bradley, I'll get right into it. Let's start, first of all, with where it all started. Take us back to your roots. What was life like for you as an individual growing up?
Well, I was raised in Olean in a single parent household consisting of one brother and one sister. My mother was employed with Dennery Farm Co. This is a banana plantation at the time, which provided employment for several single parents in the community of Dennery. I grew up in a household, Spider, with no running water and no electricity. Every morning I had to fetch water from a public standpipe, which was approximately 10 minutes walking distance from where we lived. And I remember every morning in the class, Spider, my colleagues would speak about Ninja Turtle and Popeye. And I never had the privilege or the luxury to view those cartoons growing up. But my mom always taught me to be satisfied with the little we had at the time. And this has helped shape the person I am today, Spider. This is one of the core values I carry with me wherever life takes me. And for my assignments, nighttime, Spider, I use what we call a kerosene lamp at the time to complete my assignment. And coming from the community of Oleon, which is a very tight-knit community, the people come together in both good times and bad times. For example, if there's a death in the family, the neighbor will contribute meat, will contribute drinks, etc. Also, if there is a festive, for example, First Communion or a birthday party, the neighbors will contribute also, Spider. And Oleon is a very, Oleon is very cultural rich. It's very rich in culture. And we have the Marguerite, the Laures, also the Mothers and Fathers group. And this is the only community, Spider, where mothers and fathers celebrate for 3 straight days.
Yeah. Well, we saw some social media footages of that recently. But in reading the little bio I wrote about you, I mentioned like you are an executive, a company, and that you worked regionally. Tell me about your experience working regionally. First of all, let me divulge to my listeners and viewers that Bradley was an executive with the company called Cage that I referred to when I was discussing the National Lotteries Authority, because Cage is one of the companies that oversees, that would oversee or has oversight over some of the video lottery games and so on, that generates much needed revenue for youth and sports. Of course, now that is being squandered, but I just wanted to put it into context to let people know when I ask you about your work on the regional level as an executive. I want you to tell me about that experience, knowing that it was Cage that you worked for.
Well, I had the privilege to work and serve Cage in Barbados, Antigua, Guyana, St. Martin, and St. Kitts as the regional corporate liaison. And one of the challenges I encountered, Spider, was the cultural barriers. In all markets, even in spite we 45 minutes away, or some instances an hour and 30 minutes away, the environment is different. And sometimes it took me a week or 2 weeks to adjust to the environment. And to be successful, especially when you're at the helm of any organization, you need to understand the people that you are working with and also to understand the market. And this was very important for me, Spider. And it has burdened my network on a regional level. And I intend, Spider, to use my regional network to assist St. Lucia, especially in marketing the produce. Because countries like Barbados, St. Martin, Antigua, and St. Kitts do not produce any ground provision. And most of those provisions are imported from the neighboring islands. And I believe the opportunity is there for St. Lucia to expand on their markets on a regional level, which will reduce on the cost of transporting those goods.
Okay, so you talk about, I read you already, you know, Bradley. You come from an agricultural community, so I see you're already using your experience, your background, your exposure, and talking about how you're going to leverage that for the benefit of your community. But that, of course, you are making reference to because you have entered the political arena.
Yes, definitely.
And you intend to become the parliamentary representative of Dennery North. And in that capacity, you just said that you'll be using your network in the region for their benefit. But you had a nice cushy job, Bradley, at the executive level for Cage, traveling regionally. Why did you enter politics?
Well, Spider, very interesting question. It was the people's decision, Spider. I was in Antigua working on a project, and I received a call from my people of Dennery North requesting that I represent them in the next general election. Spider, I was astonished for a while. And my question was, why me? And they said, because of all the good deeds you have done for the people of Dennery North. And they broke it down, Spider, from purchasing homes, from having yearly back-to-school program, and from assisting farmers with materials and various inputs, Spider.
And that is before you
Yes.
entered the political arena?
Yes.
Because you only recently entered the political arena. But did you have any intention then while you were doing that to enter politics?
No.
I see.
So I said, okay, I'll need some time to make a decision. So I completed the project in Antigua, and I traveled to Guyana in the capacity of general manager. So I made some self-reflection, Spider, and I reached out to my family, I consulted my friends, and I consulted a few people from the community. And I said to myself, but Bradley, the people reach out to you. And I think you need to send a strong message and to be a mentor for those marginalized young men and young women from Dennery North. And I did decided back then to pursue the political journey. And I'm here tonight, Spider. Because what has happened, Spider, especially in Dennery North, because you are from a marginalized family, sometimes there's no hope that you can excel and make a difference. So I want to be that person from Dennery North, that young man from Oleo, raised on the rocks on the Kaye, to be an example to the young boys and the young girls being raised by a single mom, that you can achieve anything you put your mind to. And that is the main reason I decided to fight Spider.
I see. So, okay, you have a background in I think that's the strongest selling point for you, your background in community work, because while you have distinguished yourself, you had a great job as a regional executive with Cage. You spoke of your community involvement, which I think must have been one of the strong reasons why the people looked to you and made the call for you to get into the political arena, because they probably figured if without political office you were contributing to your community in that way, they have high expectations and high hopes of you. But Bradley, for you to be able to take your community involvement, your community activism to a higher level to make a greater contribution, yes, in the political arena you can do that, but you must win for you to be in a position to actually make a difference. What makes you believe that you can unseat your opponent, who is Sean Edwards, a 3-time parliamentary representative for Dennery North? And he has, like I said, he has been undefeated in the last 3 general elections. And you are coming in, a newcomer. Yes, you have strong community base and so, but let me hear from you. What makes you believe that you can be successful in, first of all, defeating Sean Edward and to become the parliamentary representative of Dennery North?
Okay, not what makes me believe that I will defeat my opponent is why I will defeat my opponent, Spider.
Okay.
Because under the leadership of the late Ferdinand Henry, under the leadership of Tony Torrance, under the leadership of Marcus Nicholas, we had what we called a united Mabuya Valley or a united Dennery North. But from the time my opponent emerged in the political arena, what we have witnessed in Dennery North is division, Spider. And the people are tired. The people are frustrated. And the people are calling for unity. And the people are calling for a change, Mr. Montoute. Also, we have a very high rate of unemployment within the youth in Dennery North. And to build any community, your youth must be employed meaningfully, Mr. Montoute. And also, we have a lack of capital projects in Dennery North. And I spoke earlier about my mom worked on the banana plantation. And agriculture is the pillar of Dennery North. And if, as we speak this evening, we have 80 more farmers in Dennery North, we have a lot. And last night, Spider, I engaged a few young men. And what really caught my attention last night was that one of the gentlemen told me that, Bradley, there's no football, nothing happening in Dennery North right now. And I have to travel all the way to Deriso.
And that is despite the fact that the parliamentary representative, Sean Edward, is a former sports minister.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. He told me that he has to travel all the way to Deriso to take part in an ongoing football tournament. But there is no football happening in Dennery North right now. A community, Spider, that once had a women's football team, cricket team, basketball team, netball team, and for us to be at this juncture right now, it's a shame, Mr. Montoute.
Yeah. Well, okay.
And these are the reasons that I will be the next parliamentary representative for Dennery North, because I will be addressing all those issues. And there is a master plan for Dennery North. But closer, when the bell is rung, whenever it's rung, that master plan will be presented to my Dennery North people. And it entails all stakeholders from Dennery North, from the farmers to the contractors, to the bus drivers, to the Dennery segment artists. It's everything will be part of my master plan, including sports, including housing. And we will see capital projects in Dennery North under my leadership. I know a lot of my people from Dennery North are eager, Spider, to hear my plans and what I have to offer to the people of Dennery North. But Spider, as a young man, I grew up from a single parent household. And I have done very well for myself and my family. And one thing I have been preaching all over the Caribbean and the regional markets where I held various posts, and also right here home in St. Lucia, is that your salary is supposed to work for you. Your salary is supposed to be a stepping stone to change your life. Because a paycheck will never get you where you need to be or where you want to be in life. So I believe in investment, Spider. And that is something I will be pushing a lot in Dennery North. No matter how small it is, you can only change your life through investment. Because the company you employed with, the owner invested.
Interesting. Well, I mean, you sound very positive, very optimistic, and you seem to have great plans and ideas for your community. But I'm a little curious. I mean, there's the St. Lucia Labour Party, albeit, I mean, I know Sean is the incumbent, but I know that there are some incumbents of the St. Lucia Labour Party that have been challenged by other people who want to become the candidate. But you didn't go that route. You chose the United Workers' Party. Any particular reason for that?
Well, Spider, I have always liked the leadership of our leader of the opposition. He's a visionary leader. And during COVID, the way he handled the affairs of St. Lucia, I was very impressed by that. When St. Lucia was on lockdown, the doors, the airports, the shores were closed to the international and regional world. Alan Shastley did an excellent job. And this is why I have chose the United Workers' Party. Because I believe to develop a nation, you must be successful in your own life and not wait to get exposure to state resources to start your life. And this is why I'm supporting our leader, Spider, 101%.
Okay. And so you are one of the newcomers. I noticed that it is public knowledge now that the United Workers' Party will be presenting at least 12 new candidates to the electorate of St. Lucia, you being one of them. And you all, of course, when I say you all, I'm talking about the new candidates in the United Workers' Party, yourself included, have caused quite a bit of excitement and anticipation and high expectation, which says that, I see it as more pressure on you all, because if the expectations are high, you have to deliver, and I'm sure you recognize that and you know that. But I know that you are from a farming community. What are the biggest challenges? Because before I talk about the UWP in general, I want to focus because you are interested in representing Dennery North. And I'm curious to know, what are the biggest challenges for farmers that you see in your constituencies, being a farming community, as far as our food production is concerned, because we know that our food production has decreased drastically. I mean, I used to say that I'm a farmer, but nowadays I've been told don't say that. I say I have a farm, don't say I'm a farmer. And but I am aware, being in the circle, that food production in St. Lucia has in fact decreased dramatically. Many farms have been abandoned. Many farms are turned into forests, so much so that a lot of farms are now snake infested and all of those things. I know Dennery North is no exception. So I'm asking you, what are the challenges? What do you see as the biggest challenges in your constituency? Because this is one of the areas I know you're focusing on to do something about.
Yeah, I think, Spider, on the national level, not only in my constituency, the biggest challenge farmers encounter is the cost of production. Cost of production has increased exponentially, especially for vegetable farmers and other crops. Land preparation, Spider, and the various inputs, fertilizer, etc., has increased a lot, Spider. And what has happened to the market value? What has happened to the output? The price of the output has not changed. And this is putting the farmers under tremendous pressure. Some farmers are not even breaking even. And I believe right now in St. Lucia, when we get into office, we need to have a proper pricing mechanism for our farmers. And we need to also provide more incentive for our farmers. So the cost of production has increased and the market value of the output has not increased. So farmers are unable to employ people to work on the farm, Spider. Because probably 15 years ago, a farmer could employ a worker and pay him $40 or $50. But with the high cost of living, a farm worker will only accept a minimum of $80 to work on any farm. So what has happened? The farmers are unable to employ people, and that has impacted the level of production. So we need agriculture reform in St. Lucia. We need to understand what is happening with the farmers, and we need to assist them. Because in Guyana, Spider, the president of Guyana, President Ali, increased the budget for farming by over 400%. And what has happened? Right now, Guyana is the only self-sufficient country in the world. Guyana can feed itself. And agriculture used to be the main industry in St. Lucia. An industry we can control. We have no control about what happens in the tourism industry. But we can control agriculture. And that is the direction we need to move into, Spider. We need to increase the budget for agriculture. And we also need, Mr. Montoute, to move into climate smart and resilient farming. While I was in Guyana, I had the opportunity to visit several farms in Guyana. And Guyana is pushing a lot of what they call hydroponics farming. I believe we have a few in St. Lucia. But we need to invest more into that so we could attract the younger people to take part in farming. We need to build training facilities for those young people to understand it and show what's in it for me. Why will I want to go into farming? We need to make it attractive for the young people. And one way of making it attractive for everyone, no matter what form of business that you are involved in, is presenting to that it is profitable, it is worth your while, it is worthwhile you doing X or Y or Z. Right. And I believe hydroponics is one of the ways because it has worked for Guyana. And do you know that in Guyana there is a zero importation on chicken? So we need to invest more into our agriculture sector.
But you see, you talk about hydroponics, which tells me that you have technology in mind.
Yes.
And of course, you're talking about attracting the younger people into things. Now, quite apart from making it profitable, the profit is always an attraction, I must say.
Yes.
I think that approach of including the technology will make it more attractive to the younger people. And if we are already we are an aging population, and if it is only older people that are into agriculture, and agriculture is already on the decline, soon from now we will not be able to feed ourselves at all. Already we are importing so many things. So I think your approach is very refreshing, very interesting. As a young person, you know, I see you seem to be one of the UWP candidates that is an advocate for the return of agriculture as a main industry in St. Lucia. And I think that is commendable and so on. So, I mean, but in terms of livestock, do you see us having a chance in St. Lucia? Because when, forgive me, you know, like I said, I mean, I call myself a farmer and I've stopped doing that. But when we say agriculture, many people think of food crop, like ground provision and so on, bananas, dashing, things like that. But there is also livestock. And we import a lot of meat. Can you see us becoming self-sufficient in providing for ourselves the meat that we want? Is that possible?
Okay, Spider, it all goes back to cost of production. Because I am also a livestock farmer. And I have been a livestock farmer for the past 10 years. And a bag of feed, Spider, is right now $50.
Right.
And for the last 10 years, the price of pork, I'll be very specific, the price of pork has not increased on the wholesale level. If you slaughter a pig in your community, the price has increased from $10 to $12. But when you slaughter, Spider, to sell to the supermarkets, where you sell in bulk, the price has not increased. And this is stifling the farmers. And this is one of the reasons why pork production has decreased by over 41%. The farmers, I believe, are requesting, I think, $9 to be at a profit, at a small profit margin. Because it's not only the feed that increased, also the other medicine. And, yeah, and that is one of the challenges. And as a government, we will make sure our farmers, our livestock farmers, we provide incentives, and we have a pricing mechanism that will take into consideration cost of production on whatever is happening in the market to predict the price of the output. Because right now, the buyers are the one controlling the price for farmers. And this is one of the reasons farming has become unattractive for a lot of people. We need proper pricing mechanism for the entire farming sector. Cost of production plus market condition, and we have a standard price. That is what we need to do for our farmers. Because a farmer should know from an acre of plantain and an acre of watermelon how much money he or she will earn from that. But as we speak tonight, Spider, I don't think there are any farmers in St. Lucia that could tell you, okay, I have an acre of cucumbers and I will generate X, Y, or W. Because the buyers are the one dictating the price.
You know, it is very refreshing, I have to say that again, to hear you speak that way. Your neighbor next door in Dennery South is the Minister of Agriculture, Prosper. And I don't hear Prosper speaking that way. And I suspect while you are a corporate executive, you are into other forms of businesses and you seem to be very deep into the agricultural sector. You, as a practicing farmer yourself, you do both livestock and farming the land and so on. And so you're speaking with passion, and you're speaking with knowledge on what ought to be and what obtains. Now, I understand well the background of the other gentleman is forestry, and maybe that's why all farms are turning to be forests now. So I don't know, but it is refreshing to hear you speak that way. It is, you know, very encouraging. And I'm hoping that, you know, with people like you in a UWP cabinet, that you all will push the agenda to make farming not just more attractive, but as you said, more profitable, so that more solutions. Because I remember when we had farming as our main industry, the average solution was doing a lot better. Okay, there were farmers who had gotten to the level of middle class in St. Lucia, and it will be nice to see that happen once again. You know, so I am very encouraged by this, and you know, I must admit to you, I'm a little surprised. You know, young fellas like you all, I don't know until you ought to be interested in things like that. You know, especially with your background in the corporate world. But that's interesting and refreshing to know. And you will be bringing, of course, the business approach to agriculture, which is one of the things that is lacking in this country.
Yeah, Spider, when I was attending SAFA, my farm was what financed my schooling.
Wow. Okay.
So I have been in farming for a very long while, Spider. I always believe in farming, and I always believe in other little investment. When I was attending Olio Combined School, Spider, I constructed a bicycle which was being rented daily.
Okay.
You know, so I have always been driven to go out there and get it done.
In your own
I've
right.
always been an entrepreneur in my own ways.
Yeah.
And that is what I want to bring to Dennery North. To lead the people by example with a proven track record, no matter your family background, that you can be successful. But you need a leader who has done it and to guide you as to how to get to that point.
But one of the things, Brad, I've heard farmers complain about is the fact that when they go to market, if they're selling to the hotels or even the supermarkets, that the buyers take a while to pay them. So in effect, I have to say it like it is, that's what happens on this program here. In effect, the bigger business, which is a supermarket or the hotel, is using their money as their cash flow, while the farmer, who's already just barely making ends meet, has to wait until he gets his money, his payment and so on, and that is posing some hardship to farmers as well.
Let me ask you one question, Mr. Montoute. When the hotels or the supermarkets, when they import goods, they pay upfront. They pay upfront.
Yeah.
Even before seeing exactly, according to my grandmother,
yeah.
You don't know what you're paying for. And this is something we will make sure that happens, that any local business person. It could be a livestock, it could be a vegetable, it could be a provision farmer, that you get paid in a reasonable time frame.
That's what exactly I was trying to get out of you, because you say we will have to see to it. That's because you see, many of the farmers, we know their background, they cannot represent themselves. They need representation. So as a representative of the people, I'm happy to hear you say that this we look into to see to it that, you know, just like they pay the exporters who export things to St. Lucia, they buy jabba sack, like you said, and so they pay upfront the same way. If they can pay on delivery, you know, so that will make life better, create more cash flow for our farmers and so on. But Bradley, I will take a break right now, a short break, and when we come back, I will be opening the lines to our viewers and listeners, because while I am, you know, happy with the discussion that is going on there, there may be people out there who have other questions for you, or have words of encouragement or advice or whatever. I always want to give my viewers and listeners an opportunity for them to tell it like it is as well. So I ask you to stay tuned. We will be back very shortly on Like It Is. Please stay tuned.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our four corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected. Did you know that while you're busy with your day, important news is breaking all around you? From politics to weather updates, community stories, and breaking news. Hot 7 TV keeps you informed with news every hour on the hour. Don't wait to hear it secondhand. Stay ahead. Stay informed with Hot 7 TV St. Lucia. News notes on the hour. Stay updated wherever you are. Catch Hot 7 TV St. Lucia's news every hour on the air, on our mobile app, and on our website.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to Like It Is. Thanks for staying tuned. And I have here this evening with me Mr. Bradley Marcelle Fulgence, the United Workers' Party endorsed candidate for the Dennery North constituency, and he'll be doing battle in the upcoming general elections to become the next parliamentary representative for Dennery North. Now, Bradley, you have chosen the political arena, you have jumped in and so on. What do you think about St. Lucian politics in general? What is your view of what obtains here and what passes for politics?
Yeah, Mr. Montoute, I believe it's time that we get out of the what we call the mépris politics. Let's target the main issues. Let's address the main issues. And if we have to attack any politician, I believe we should attack the policies, the failed policies, and not the mépris politics about this and about that. This is something I will stay very far away from. Because at the end of the day, you need to divide someone's personal life from politics. Divide their personal life from politics and policies, because there are a lot of failed policies in St. Lucia right now. And right now, St. Lucia is in serious trouble with all what is happening around us. So I'm not interested about speaking about someone's personal life, no, that is not Bradley. Bradley will be speaking about failed policies and not attack anyone personally. And I believe this is the direction our politics in St. Lucia should be heading to right now. We have 12 new candidates, and we will be heading to this direction.
Okay, I must confess, I must say that I have checked the trend with you all already. I've been around most of you all, and refreshingly so. I have noticed that that is the direction you're taking, and that is good. Now, we have now rectified our phone issues, so I think we can now open the line to our viewers and listeners. Of course, you know the rules. You have to be courteous to my guests. Please try to keep your comments or your questions as brief as possible to give as many people a chance as we can. And those of you who have nothing good to say, you can keep quiet and listen to the people who have a contribution to make. And, you know, like I said, it's just courtesy, politeness, but you're free to tell it like it is. I want to let those of you listening, because those of you who are viewing can see the number on the screen, but for those of you who are listening, our telephone number, the landline, is 4500777, 4500777, and our WhatsApp number is 284-3499. Again, our WhatsApp number is 284-3499, and we have in studio with us tonight the United Workers' Party endorsed candidate for Dennery North, a newcomer to the political arena, Mr. Bradley Marcelle Fulgence, who so far, I'm sure when you begin to call, you will agree, is a breath of fresh air in terms of his approach to the politics. And I must say, I'm complimenting already the newcomers in terms of their refreshing approach to the politics. So we already have a caller on the line. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yes, I just want to ask Mr. Bradley a few questions as it relates to agriculture. You talk about the length of time it takes to pay.
Can you excuse?
Just a moment, caller. I wasn't saying anything, but I noticed Bradley seemed to be having a problem too.
Yes, I'm not hearing you clearly.
You're not hearing you clearly. Could you try again, please? Start over again, please.
I'm asking Mr. Bradley. He talked about the length of time that it takes to pay farmers, the hotels, and all of the others. Right. How much time would be a reasonable time in his estimate for a farmer to get paid?
How much time would be a reasonable time for farmers to get paid? Since you said, just like me, you said you have a problem with the fact that they're taking so long to pay the farmers.
Yeah, thank you, caller, for asking such an interesting question. But first, I would like to do a proper assessment of the current duration, and also according to the type of produce that is being sold to the entity. And I will be in a better position to give you a time frame on that.
So can I give you a little bit of information?
Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
Okay, some businesses, some hotels take a week to pay. Some other businesses take 1 week to pay. So if you sell, anytime you sell during the week, you will get paid by Friday. Is that reasonable enough for you?
Would you consider that to be reasonable, Bradley, in light of what you said earlier? You said when they're importing, they pay up front. So would you?
Well, it all has to do with the amount of goods that is being sold to the hotel or the supermarket.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I have one other question for you. You talk about the challenges of agriculture, of farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can you just reiterate? What are the biggest challenges that you face in agriculture right now?
The cost of production.
The
cost of production. And I think he alluded to that earlier on. He mentioned the cost of fertilizer and all of those things. You know, the inputs. He is saying it is so high now that in some cases the farmers don't even make a profit in the end.
Okay. It is supposed. I'll tell you something. My biggest problem in agriculture is we do not run agriculture as a business.
That's another thing.
Farmers.
That's another thing he alluded to as well. Yes.
A lot of farmers do not run this as a business. And the other big problem that we have, you talk about somebody don't want to work for less than $80. I don't know if that happens in his area, but in my area, somebody will get paid between $50 and $60 a day, and they're going to work. But the biggest problem is getting workers, getting people to work.
Yeah.
People are no longer interested in work. And it is imagine the present government, they have a farm assistance program that they give the farmers, the workers, the government pays the workers, and the workers come on the farm and do the work for the farmers. Even then, you cannot find suitable workers for the farm. So agriculture in itself, there are multiplicity of problems. One of the problems I see in agriculture is we do not complement each other. We do not collaborate.
Can I interject on the last statement you made?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yes. During the green gold era, it wasn't a problem to find workers. And being a farmer and someone assigning someone to your farm, I don't think it's the best strategy to assist the farmers, because you'll be able to handpick who works on your farm. Because I've heard some stories about theft because of that program. And if the compensation is attractive enough, I don't think we will have an issue in getting people to work on those farms. Because during the green gold era, it was never a problem. And people were getting paid $40 at that time. Because my father harvested almost 200 boxes of bananas every week. And we had ample people to choose from, several people to choose from. We used to even reject some people. So I believe it all has to do...
Mr. Bradley, those were the days. And you are not talking to a Johnny come lately or a fly by night. I may not be able to do the farming that I was doing before, because I am coming from a very serious accident that I had. But I'm telling you, I am not a fly by night or a Johnny come lately.
No, I don't think he suggested that in any way, caller. He was just telling you his experience.
I'm just telling him one of the biggest farm in the Miku area belonged to me. You understand me? And it was the bomb. You understand what I'm telling you? But getting guys to work is a problem. And
okay, so caller, what do you think is the reason for that?
People just don't want to work. We have reached an era where people don't want to work. Construction companies complain. Farmers complain. Everybody's complaining that people just don't want to work. And I was telling you
we will have to investigate whether people don't want to work or people just don't want to work hard, because farming is hard work and construction is hard work, and maybe just people just don't want to work hard.
You can strategize in farming. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, one of the problems that we have in agriculture is that we are not ready to complement or cooperate as farmers. So if I have cantaloupe and I decide I'm not going to sell my cantaloupe for $1, you know, another farm or $1.50, another farmer is going to quickly call the company and say, you can get mine for $1. We are not cooperating with each other. We do not. The hardest set of people to get to come together are farmers, and consequently, we can be taken for granted, because we do not come together so we can have a formidable force.
Okay, caller, I don't want to cut you short, caller, but we want to have as many callers as possible. Thanks for your contribution. You gave us, I'm sure you gave Bradley a lot to think about, because like he said, we have to find ways to make it more attractive. And you mentioned, some of the problems that we have. And like you said, the farmers will have to come together along with the leaders to discuss the actual situation on the ground and to find solutions to make the farming more attractive, to encourage more people to get involved in farming, especially young people. So do we have another caller?
Yeah, I must say, Spider, I agree with the caller's last point.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get farmers to come together.
Yeah. We have a caller online. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Like It Is. Please
Good
go
evening,
ahead and make
gentlemen.
your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, Spider. The gentleman that just spoke a while ago.
I'm not. Are you hearing?
No.
I'm not hearing. There's an
Yeah.
issue with.
Are you there?
Okay, we're hearing you now. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the gentleman that just spoke a while ago, he's quite right. You can't get workers. You can't get workers, no matter what. Farmers, construction site, whatever thing that you turn into, the young people of this country don't want to work today. And this is a fact. Can't blame no government, whether it's Flobo, whether it's Labour. No government. Right now, these young people need to be counseled, put into a classroom, educate them about.
Call, I don't want to interrupt you, but we can't let Bradley off the hook so easy. You know, they want to be our representative. They have to find ways of making it happen. You know?
Yes, we have to find ways to make it happen. But Spider, you know what's going on in our country today.
That's true.
It's a troubling thing, Spider. Very troubling thing.
So
now,
may I ask you?
Mr. Bradley, I heard you said about your policy person, principle, and you're not going to go down that way where you're going to go into that make-we thing. You understand? I quite agree that. I 100% supporter of what you said. But we have certain things that is going on. Let's take on that gentleman that is going up against Prospect, Slabash. Right? There's a document going around where he wrote a lot of checks. Right? One of those checks was assigned to his mother. Do you?
Caller. Can I stop you there?
Yes, sir.
You see, when I say a lot of things here, but I substantiate it now. You may be able to substantiate what you say there, but I cannot, and so I have a responsibility to the station that I am operating on.
I quite agree that it's better.
So you say you agree with Bradley about what he says, and then you go the other route.
No. Yeah. Bradley said about the principle to policies and the country stand first, and where I agree to him about that. Now, whatever we're going into today, I will stand by principles and policies and the right for the country, finance to go the right direction.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Were you referring to the UWP candidate in Dennery South?
That's Roger.
Okay, so you know what I will do? I will get him to come on this program here where he can answer for himself. Now, if it was about Bradley you were talking, he's right there. I would let you go ahead. But I don't think it's fair for you to be saying what you're saying there when I have no...
No, I didn't say anything that I didn't see. I saw a document going around. So I just wanted to clarify whether that document was, anything truthful about it.
Or you want to ask Bradley whether there's any truth about it?
Do you know anything about it? Because it is said around. I think Bradley has seen the document as well.
Well, I have not seen the document, and I'm in no position right now to make any comment on whatever you are referring to.
But caller, we also know too that once you put yourself in that arena, all kinds of things, all manner of things are being said about you. So we'll not dwell on that here. We deal with facts and we deal with evidence on this program. Okay, caller? Thank you for your contribution. Nonetheless, do we have another caller? Okay, we don't have another caller. But Bradley, I think, the point is being made here that agriculture is simply not attractive to the average young person.
Yes, definitely.
And it is difficult to get people to work in the field of agriculture. It is, one of the callers also said that applies to construction. So we have to find ways to make construction and agriculture more. I mean, I dabble in agriculture. I can tell you there's nothing attractive about going and dig the land and that kind of thing, especially if you're not going to get the kind of returns at the end of the day. And so technology, I think, will play a big role in making it more attractive. We have a caller online, so we'll interrupt the discussion to take our caller. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is. Hello? We lost the caller.
Okay, Mr. Montoute. I believe the first thing we need to do is to find what is the root cause of the problem. before we can have any solution, because something is happening, but we're not sure what is happening. We need to find what is causing that.
Hold that thought, Bradley. I think we have a caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome to.
Good evening.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell it like it is.
Yeah. Bradley, I'd like to ask him a question.
You're breaking up, caller. Could you repeat what you said, please? I don't think.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
You're breaking up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. For Bradley?
Yes?
Yeah. I know. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead and make your point, caller. We're listening.
Yeah. I know you come from Oleon. I just wanted to know where you went to school when you were young. When you were much younger, where you went to school?
What elementary school did you go to?
Okay, well, I attended the Richmond Infant School at the time, and also the Oleon Combined School. These are the elementary school I attended.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you from Oleon. You was born in Oleon. But I wanted to know what school you attend.
Yeah, but he told you he went to Richmond and what was the other school you said?
Oleon Combined School.
Oleon Combined School.
Oleon Combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any comment, any advice, anything to say to my guest, caller?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I know he's into the agriculture business. So I wanted to know if he'll introduce the agriculture to a lot of young fellas in the valley.
Okay, thank you, caller, for your contribution. Randy, I think you touched on it already, but the caller wants to know whether you're going to encourage young people in the valley to get into agriculture.
Yes, definitely I will be doing that. But the most important thing is to train them the modern way of farming. Because it will be very difficult, almost impossible, to convince a young man to take a fork or a cutlass right now to dig a hole to plant various produce. But first we need to show them the benefits, and we need to train them with the modern way of farming.
Okay. I think that will make a difference. We have a caller now. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Like It Is. Go ahead, make your contribution, please. Tell us like it is. Hello? Have we lost this caller? Hello?
Miss Spider?
Yes, caller, go ahead. Good evening.
Yeah, Guy Joseph here.
Yes, Guy Joseph, one of your colleagues, Bradley.
Yes,
go ahead, Guy.
let me congratulate Bradley on his presentation tonight and his manner of answering the questions. But I just want to make a very quick contribution. The downward spiral in the agricultural workers in St. Lucia did not happen by accident. I think that if you would recall when the STEP program was introduced to St. Lucia, and this is not about politics, so I don't want anybody to take it to be that this is politics, because both political parties have done it. And that is when you have to deal more with the voter than you have to deal with the development of the country. And sometimes it's hard for us to admit that, look, there are some things that we can do better without than we can do with. Now, I know when I say that, they'll run and tell the people, we want to stop the STEP program. We don't want to stop STEP program. I believe the STEP program should be like an agricultural subsidy program. But it should be a program that, as Bradley indicated, the farmers get to choose the workers that they are comfortable with working on their farms, as opposed to workers being assigned to them. And if you follow, when Dr. Kenny Anthony introduced the STEP program to St. Lucia, it was a program run in Trinidad. Now, this program in Trinidad, and when I spoke to a lot of people in Trinidad because I used to be a regular visitor to Trinidad. I wasn't in government. I didn't dream of being in government yet. People who have people cutting grass around their house with weed eaters and stuff for them and paying them $100 a day, all of a sudden could not get people to cut the grass around their home anymore. Because people would go and you'd get 6 weed eaters in a 30 square foot space along the roadside, and each person was being paid $100. So at the end of the day, people didn't want to put in the hours of work. And while they are saying government should put in programs, I think parents are training children in a way where agriculture is no longer attractive for anybody to be in. And as you indicated, by the hard labor, anything that calls for a lot of energy and effort is not something that the young people are attracted to. So if we are going to make agriculture anything to go by in St. Lucia, our technology in agriculture would have to change. And that is why the UWP was introduced in the 6-crop program. I heard a caller ask Bradley, what's a reasonable time for payment? And I'm happy how Bradley answered the question, because it all depends on your contractual arrangement with the person, how regular you supply, and the things that you supply
and all of that, yeah.
Yes, but what I want to say quickly, Spider, because I know other callers want to get on there, is that with this 7-crop program we were running, every farmer who would be engaged would be contracted. They would know what to produce in what amount, and they would know the price for it before they produced it. So they would know, is it viable for me to go into the production of, let's say, cucumbers, as an example. If I'm only going to get 60 cents a pound or $1 a pound, is it worth my while to go into it based on how far my land is, the irrigation system that I have, the part of the island in which I am living, the amount of time it's going to take to produce and transport my goods from point A to point B, because all of these things have an impact on the final product.
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody producing something in Choiseul or in Dewash, in Soufrière, in Fonsejac, and having to transport these same goods to Castries, as opposed to somebody producing in Beckton, Mac, or Forestier?
Yeah.
Just look at the difference in the cost of transportation alone, and it would tell you. So I am happy that, as you indicated, a young man like Bradley, with a very good background in business,
although
agriculture.
Although we must admit, he talked about the jazzy side of it too, and he talked about hydroponics and all those things, which is what is needed to attract young people. Bringing into the industry the technology and the modern ways of doing it, and like he said,
and we have the perfect group of people here to help push agriculture, which is the Taiwanese.
That's right.
The Taiwanese have adopted the most modern method of agriculture, and that is why in the cooperation with the Taiwanese, they were actually bringing in the expertise to train our people.
Right.
My final point on this, Bradley, is that agriculture plays a very critical role in the economy of rural communities in this country. What tourism cannot do, what construction cannot do to augment the income of households is done by agriculture. And any serious government will pay careful attention to agriculture to make sure that we have the kind of output from the agricultural sector. Thank you, Bradley, and continue the good work. I know that the valley is an agricultural community. The days of green gold, we know what it was like in the valley, and I think you bring great hope to the valley to help revive agriculture. Not necessarily bananas, but agriculture that can bring sustainable income to the Dennery Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Guy. Well, that was a good call. We gave some insight, some background as to what the UWP was planning to do, and I'm sure we'll continue to do. And I'm sure you all will be expounding a little more on that as the campaign unfolds. We have a caller online? Okay. I think we have just a few minutes left, and I will, say to you, Bradley, it is refreshing to have people like yourself, to have people like Stephen Favrier, to have people like Tommy Descat, to have Laura Jean-Pierre Noel, to have new candidates like Rush Clark, Marcella Johnson. We have, a newcomer, though he's more experienced than you guys are. He has been around in government before, but in a different capacity, people like Titus Sprayville. We have, quite a lot of the new candidates who have come into the fray, people like Elijah Norbert, people like Benson, what's his first name? Emil. Benson Emil. His last name is Emil, yes. Benson Emil. Those new names, people like yourselves who have come in and given hope to St. Lucians once again. And the approach that you all have taken, I must admit, it is very refreshing, very encouraging. So there is hope for St. Lucia. Do we have a caller? We taking? No? Okay, I think we're going to wrap up now. Bradley, do you have any final words before we close?
Yes, Mr. Montoute. I would like to thank all the viewers for this evening, and also the callers. All calls will be taken very seriously, especially the caller from Mikud. I would like to meet with you in the near future because you sound very experienced, and I believe in working with everyone with experience in agriculture and any other portfolio I will be leading under the UWP administration. And also, I call it a movement, not a campaign. So everyone in Dennery North who wants to be part of that movement to make Dennery North better than what it used to be during the Green Gold era, you're welcome on board. It is not a campaign, it is a movement. And let's come together to build a united and stronger Dennery North.
Thank you, Bradley. It was indeed a pleasure to have you here this evening. Again, I say I want to compliment the United Workers' Party for that cadre of fresh blood that they have brought into the politics of St. Lucia. I think it has done a lot to provide hope to St. Lucians for the future, and I'm sure that you all will go a long way in contributing towards redirecting the energies and the focus of our young people in this country, and to do a lot to uplift and bring back progress and development to our country. I want to thank you for making a sacrifice. I notice most of you, when I look at your background, you are in fact making a sacrifice to come into politics. Yes, I will not ask you for your business on TV, but I know you would be making more money where you would than you would be making into politics. And I really didn't want to ask you about that, but I know that. And so it is good that you all have a sense of national commitment, that you want to make that contribution and to serve. So thanks again for accepting my invitation. I want to say thanks to all of you who are listening, all of you who are viewing, all of you who call in. And I want to say to you that next week, we will be back on Monday with another episode of Like It Is. And watch it. You just might get another new face in the politics. Unlike It Is, we unearth all the new talents and we bring them to you so that you can get a feel of them. So count on it. I will have another newcomer on the program next week. I want to ask you to join us on Thursday for Meet the Opposition, on Sunday, where we usually have our Sunday live programs. I want you to stay tuned with the United Workers' Party, where we bring the truth to light, where we address the issues that are of concern and interest to you. I want to thank you. Have a very good night. All the best to you, and keep the hopes alive, because with the United Workers' Party, the light will shine. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good evening.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star on television in St. Lucia with our stunning 100% HD quality, fresh exciting programming, including a